Glad you're all here for what I know is going to be a great session. I'm Stephen Midgley, Chief Marketing Officer at MediaValet, and it's great to be joined by one of our valued customers, Jack Rowley, who is the digital asset manager at Fred Rogers Productions. Jack, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see you, Stephen.
Yeah, great. Thanks for joining us. And I think it's always great when we hear from customers and have some real world examples of the applicability of digital asset management. And maybe we could start off with telling us a little bit about Fred Rogers Productions. I think everyone knows who Mr. Rogers is, and even though I grew up in the UK, I'm familiar with Fred Rogers. My children watched it growing up here, but maybe you can give us a little bit of a background on Fred Rogers Productions.
Okay, Fred Rogers Production, we are a nonprofit that was started by Fred Rogers when he began producing episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And our goal is to build on his legacy. Fred created nearly 1,000 episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, as well as a series he did before that in Canada for 2 years. And before that, he did a local children's series here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Since 2012, we produced 6 new series for PBS, including Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, which began airing almost 13 years ago and is still in production.
So that's a massive amount of content that's been created over the years in various formats. So maybe, I think for the audience who maybe are looking at a DAM solution, maybe you can walk us through what were sort of the business drivers for selecting a digital asset management tool.
Well, we needed to make it as easy as possible for our staff of around 40 employees to be able to search through our many assets and find what they're looking for. And with 70 plus years of television production behind us, we wanted to create a way to comfortably sift through our video catalog. And that's what we have with MediaValet.
Okay, yeah, I guess, all those decades of content, content formats have changed as well. So every company is a little bit different, every organization is a little bit different, but maybe you can explain the types of assets that you have in your MediaValet DAM solution.
We have, we're mostly video, just because we have so many episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and as I said, the other series before that, plus our shows that are the 4 shows that are in production. But we do have a sizable collection of audio files, the songs from this series, and just audio files and things like that, as well as images and some documents. But mostly we're video centric, if that is even a word.
Yeah, it's a pretty common word, and I think we did a session yesterday on video, and it is the fastest growing medium for content, media for content, and certainly YouTube is now the #2 search engine in use. So video has become extremely important, how people retain and learn new information. But unlike many of our customers, you've been around a long time, and so we know one of the recipes to success is really around metadata. So how do you collect metadata for assets that are more than 50 years old?
Well, we recently digitized around 4,000 or 5,000 slides that we had that were taken during the run of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which began in 1968. And I was able to connect with David Newell and Hedda Sheriff, and David Newell played Mr. McFeely, for those who know Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And we held several recorded 3-hour Zoom sessions where I would show them an image on the screen, and many times they were able to tell me, not only who was in the photo, but when it was taken, where it was taken, and who took the photo. And and they were extremely helpful. It was amazing that how many times they would see something, and David Newell would say, "Oh yes, that's Phil Davis, and he was a stagehand, and his son works at Alibaba." Not really happy there. He would have this huge backstory for all these things. It was very sweet, very amazing. And we were recording all this, and I would then go back and type the metadata for each of them, and that was helpful to know not only who was in it, but who took the photo. that was extremely helpful as we were, sought to secure the rights to use those photos.
So you have multiple series that are currently in production. I think it's 4 series that you have in production.
Yes, we have 4 series that are in production right now: Alma's Way, Odd Squad, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, and Don Quixote. And they're all
So a challenge is so sort of harvesting and managing those assets. So how do you harvest assets from all of these productions that you have currently in rotation?
Well, we have a representative from each of the 4 series that are currently in production, and they will upload new episodes or new images, new songs from their specific shows, and provide metadata that I wouldn't necessarily know about. And it's really valuable what they bring to it. We call them our damn champions. And in addition to their regular duties, they will upload assets to the dam and then provide metadata, which I will then approve and launch.
Okay, dam champions. That's an interesting interesting thought. I'm gonna park that one for right now, but I'm gonna come back to dam champions in a little bit, because I think one of the questions is success for any solution, especially for dam, is adoption. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but that's an interesting point. So you talk about video centric and video being it's certainly we're seeing a lot more video adoption with our customer base at MediaValet, but one of the big topics that is wide reaching through all aspects of society is AI. And so, certainly within MediaValet, we leverage the power of AI for our customers to utilize. I know you've got some great examples of how AI has helped you. So maybe we could spend a little bit of time just talking about AI at Fred Rogers Productions and how you're leveraging this emerging technology to streamline your operations.
Well, we have for a lot of our older series, the series that were done, like the Children's Corner, which was the local series that Fred did, and the Canadian series, we don't have closed captioning. And so we kind of lean into the video intelligence. I read that AI is about 85% accurate and improving from there, but I think that's about right. And so what we need, when we need captions for these older series, we'll use video intelligence. And it's much easier to start from 85% and work from there rather than to begin from scratch. So video intelligence is really doing a lot of heavy lifting for us.
So I remember reading a story, and it might have been in an earlier chat that we had, Jack, around Mr. Rogers in a purple sweater. I remember reading it in something, but maybe you can enlighten us on Mr. Rogers and the purple sweater.
Yeah, I did a presentation and I mentioned this as an example of how our various departments use MediaValet. I think we had a licensing partner was building a Mr. Rogers puzzle, and for some reason he wanted Mr. Rogers not in a red sweater, which was the standard Mr. Rogers look, but in a purple sweater, and he wanted a picture of him standing in front of the castle. And through the magic of metadata, we were able to not only find Mr. Rogers in a purple sweater standing in front of the castle, but also with the trolley in front of him. So that is what went on the final puzzle.
So I always think the promise of software is the before and after. So before software X, this is how we did it. After software X, this is how we do it now. So that example, that purple sweater, Mr. Rogers standing in front of the castle, when you got that request, how long did it take you to get that image?
Well, I mean, it was just a matter of search. It's fun because the metadata is there. So, you search in a specific folder, which in this case is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood images, and then search on the word purple sweater, and there it was. And then he didn't have a lot with the purple sweater, but there was some. And then there was one or two with him in front of the castle. And so it really didn't take long. I mean, it was just a matter of knowing, how to refine your search. And
So Jack, the question I'm sure our audience are asking right now is, if you didn't have a digital asset management solution and that request came in, how would you be able to complete the task? How long would it have taken?
I think we probably would have said, what do you think of him in red? Because they don't
Yeah,
see, it would have been really difficult, especially, yeah, we're talking about thousands of photos.
yeah.
And just to sift through there without having, yeah, I can't imagine how you would begin a project like that.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's the power of AI and the power of leveraging metadata digital asset management solutions. So often digital asset management solutions are thought about as a marketing solution. And we had a session yesterday with David Lipsey talking about how digital asset management isn't just a marketing solution, it's an enterprise-wide solution. It's a solution that can be leveraged across the entire organization.
Yes.
So maybe you can share a little bit about, I think, about how, how other departments are leveraging digital asset management to help them achieve their objectives.
I would say our monthly analytics show that 35 of our staff, as I say, around 40, regularly use the dam. And it's used in pretty much every department. And we said marketing. I mean, marketing would be like next month, June is National Blueberry Month. And if our social media person were so inclined, she could search on the word blueberry and she would get Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood episode 212, where Daniel dresses like a talking blueberry, or Don Quixote episode 101, where the characters share a blueberry shake. Anyway, that's just one example of how marketing could use it. The producers, a production will use it. We have the final version in the dam, and we did that for a couple of reasons. We did it for economic reasons, but also we did it because we didn't want people to take something from the dam that wasn't the final version of an episode or something. And gives us control over there. Producers will also create portals for new writers, which will show key episodes of the series that they're being asked to write for. And fundraising. Let's say if a foundation were focused on STEM learning, our fundraising people could create clips from, say, Peg Plus Cat or Odd Squad, our series that feature those STEM moments, and that would help as we approach foundations for for funding.
Okay.
Anyway, and I've said licensing. I mean, there's the purple sweater story.
Yeah, the purple sweater story. That's a great one. Maybe you mentioned portals, so maybe could you just provide us with a use case example of how Fred Rogers Productions uses portals today?
We use it in a lot of ways. I mean, if we have graphic designers who are working with us outside of the company, we can create a portal giving them the assets that they need for whatever specific project they're working on. And if there's a need, if someone is doing research and they need episodes from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, we often have people that are going for a PhD and they request things like that. We're able to filter just that information that they need. So it helps with outside partners, and it helps with people that are searching for specific moments in a series that will help them academically.
Okay. And then earlier you talked about DAM champions, and we know, working with other customers and any software in general, it's about adoption, and the higher the utilization or adoption rates, the more successful the solution will be, the quicker ROI the customer will realize. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on go-to-market champions, but also more generally talk about how you get staff to regularly use the DAM. Any tips and tricks you can share with our audience would be great.
I read somewhere that a suggestion that I've really liked, and it's holding what's called a DAM scavenger hunt. And that's where at our monthly staff meetings, I will present a new DAM scavenger hunt question, and then the staff will go out and seek to find the answer. For example, I would say something like, Many of you already know that Fred Rogers was colorblind, which he was.
Hmm.
But did you also know that one of the characters in our series is also colorblind? Name the series, and the character, and the episode where this information is revealed. And then staff would go out and search the dam. We get about 2/3 of the staff that go out and they really like it. People look forward to the new dam scavenger hunt question. And anyway, and the answer to this, if you're wondering, is Daniel Tiger in episode 101 of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood reveals that he also is colorblind. So there's a little trivia for you there.
Yeah, it's good to know. I'll make sure I use that. So I hope that comes up with a.
But the dam scavenger hunt is a lot of fun. People do.
Yes. Yeah, and I've seen that used before, like intranets too, right? Where like it gets people to use the tool maybe that they wouldn't have used before.
Yeah.
And then these go-to-market champions, do you meet on a regular basis? How do you, as new features get rolled out on the platform, how do you share that with other people in the organization?
Well, at all staff meetings, I'll show that we have the hot dam thing. I've shown that for the last couple of months to get people acclimated to that, and I will meet sort of individually with the dam champions, because anytime we're uploading something, I have to approve it, and there's a back and forth there. But also just in terms of for example, Margaret Cavalier, the dam champion for Don Quixote, needed new categories created for new audio files, because there's something called super shorts, which won't mean anything to the outside world. But anyway, we needed to have that yesterday, and because she had some audio files for that and music videos. So we create new files. So there's always a conversation back and forth about,
Okay.
what they need and what we have that's new that they can use. They really like being able to clip inside MediaValet. That's a big deal. And to be able to create individual clips without going out of MediaValet and into Premiere Pro, to be able to do that internally and then download it is a huge boon for them. It's been very helpful.
Yeah, that is a great feature, being able to do all that work within the platform as opposed to relying on a third-party tool. Right. We've heard that across other customers as well, but that's a really effective. It's a really effective at optimizing workflows and operational efficiencies. So there's lots of features in the dam, but are there any other specific features that you really that you or the team benefits from with the dam?
Well, I mean, I personally benefit from being able to talk to David, to somebody from MediaValet regularly, and anytime I have a question about something, it's always an immediate response, and that is really helpful. And it's just good to know that you have someone that has your back when you're trying to try something you haven't tried in a while or something, and so that's helpful. I'm sure that people, as I said, it's the fact that it's easy to navigate around and the search is really good. We had a really terrible dam years ago, and that's how we found what we wanted. We knew we were able to decide what we didn't like based on what happened in a not very good experience. That organization is no longer in business, but we learned from that. And that helped us to know what we wanted. And the number one thing that people wanted was a strong search tool, and that's what we got. And that's, yeah, it's much better than, for example, if you look for colorblind on the other dam, not to get too off topic, it would show every mention of the word color and every mention of the word blind, and that's just about useless. Anyway, it's the MediaValet search was the number one thing that we looked for when we were looking for a new dam.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So you've been using, sounds like multiple dams over the years, and so you've been using the MediaValet solution for a number of years now.
Yes.
If you were in a room with someone who is looking at a digital asset management solution for the very first time, what would be the key learnings that you would share with them that would help them be successful in implementing a dam solution?
We originally planned to have to use the dam as a storehouse. We had all this, you know, these video assets, and we didn't want them to just drop to bits, as my former employer used to say. We didn't want them to fall apart. We wanted a storehouse for them. But we've learned that it can, more than that, it can be a distribution channel for us. And it's more valuable that way. And it's used by almost every department here, as you said, but that's the real charm of a dam, I think. It's that it's not just a place where you keep things, it's a place where you distribute assets easily, and they're easy to find, they're easy to download, and they're accessible.
Great. And obviously the concept of dam champions, getting buy-in across the organization helps with adoption rates and utilization.
Right. And they're very valuable. I mean, they just their contributions to the metadata are extremely valuable.
And do these dam champions, do they give you feedback on what they would like to see in the dam?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the example of, you know, Margaret yesterday, where can we have a new category here in this? Yes. I mean, they know what assets are coming down the pike that are new, and that's so you know, we're always, and it's very easy to change the navigation, to add something to the navigation side.
Great.
So
digital asset management, it's a bit of a journey. It's evolving. In your world at Fred Rogers Productions, what's sort of the next the evolution of DAM at your organization?
What I would like to see next. That's a good question. I'll probably think of something as soon as this is over. In fact, I know Chris Arnold here had an idea for something recently, and I wish I could think of what it is. But I know there are things like, could this be it? I'm sorry, I don't have something off.
That's all right. Yeah. I think it's you know, obviously the video intelligence is a key component, and I think that will continue to evolve in that capability. But we'll see if we've got some questions from the audience. Ian, do you have some questions?
Popped one into the chat there, Stephen, that came through.
Yeah, great. Question is, how do you manage metadata for large? We kind of touch on this a little bit, but how do you manage metadata for large volumes of legacy video content, especially content that predates digital formats?
Well, as I said, the using David Newell and head of SharePen were extremely valuable, providing a background information on each on some of the things that were images that were taken in the 60s, and their insight and just their ability to remember all these things. I mean, before we had a dam, we had where we go to Hedda and say, what episode did Fred have a xylophone in? And she would look in her little Rolodex thing and look it up. So anyway, she has a good memory and she has a nice little Rolodex, but it's not nothing compared to a dam. But but her knowledge was that to answer the question, our knowledge and David's knowledge of the history of the company was very important to just connect metadata to what would just be a picture.
Yeah, right now there's some younger members of our audience Googling Rolodex. What is a Rolodex? People like you and I, we know what a Rolodex is.
Yes,
they were really useful in its time.
Yes.
Time for another question. So how do different teams, creative, archival, marketing, how do they interact with the DAM to find and reuse video content?
I'm sorry, I missed the last. How do they interact with it? I'm sorry.
How do they interact with your DAM to find and reuse video content?
Our different departments. As I said, marketing, we'll use it for. I mean, we have. There's a project we have, Be My Neighbor Day, where we work with local communities, and we provide assets for that are specific for Be My Neighbor Day to help local communities. Where it's an event that's where children are encouraged to write letters to senior citizens, or to you're doing things to help the community, and it's there are assets from on the dam that's like coloring things and things like that. So there's I'm not sure I'm nailing this question.
That's great. Yeah, that's really helpful. That's great. I think that's all we got for questions, and we're pretty much at time. I would say, I think it's so important to hear from customers how they're leveraging the power of digital asset management and some real world examples. I think it's fascinating with Fred Rogers Productions. I'm pretty sure everyone on this webinar knows who Mr. Rogers is and the work that he's done or had done. We had talked, in prep for his speech at the Senate, a presentation in the Senate to get funding for public broadcasting, and how, he ended up getting even more than he asked for. So I think Mr. Rogers is one of those iconic figures. I'm glad he did work in Canada as well, being a Canadian, but one of those iconic figures in American history, who has left a pretty indelible mark. And the fact that this continues to be children today know about Mr. Rogers, which is I think a tribute to his legacy. And it's, for us at MediaValet, it's fantastic that our technology is helping to make it easier for you and find those purple sweaters and Mr. Rogers in front of a castle. But yeah, I really appreciate, Jack, you sharing Fred Rogers Productions stories with us and with our audience. It's a little bit of a trip down memory lane talking about Mr. Rogers, but yeah, it was a really informative session. I appreciate you making the time to be with us.
Well, I'm glad to do it, and it's always fun to talk about Fred Rogers.
Yeah, indeed.
He was from what I've been, people that I've worked with him said he was just exactly as he was on TV, and he was just a very kind person. So
yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, thanks, Jack. Appreciate your time and contributions to Dam Week.